Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's ODTN use case steering team. Agenda is shared, as you can see. Please put your name. I forgot to put mine. And as a reminder, we have the reference design review for the members. Still waiting for comments and thoughts on the reference design. This is the page that you should be able to access if you're an ONF member. And being an ONF member, you can see the ODTN reference design here, the PDF, and then you provide feedback using Jira. Please do so before the end of February. Before February, so we can have a review period, and then the reference design team can take a look and address those comments. Okay. As a second point here, I just want to point everybody at the STC guide that I was talking about last time. So this guide provides the framework scenario test coordinator. This is the framework that I started using for testing parts of ODTN. And in this batch, no, sorry, need to find it. Okay, this one I included a few tests that make sure that ODTN is properly set up, so that there are a set of applications that are active. It checks that the ODTN app is active, and it checks that the netconf drivers, the ODTN drivers, the models, and everything like that is active. It verifies there was no error in the logs. It checks that there was an empty TAPI context and we can make the call, and there is no error on that side. It verifies also the log. It verifies that there is an empty connectivity. Here, there is to add two or more Docker emulators, the netcfg, and a lot more tests, but at least bringing up the system, this is how it's brought up, and it's done checks like that. I also started a framework for the RESTCOM tests. This is again tests the empty topology, empty connectivity service. Here, we should be able to test the presence instead of devices and the connectivity service after we send it. So if anybody's willing to contribute on this, just take a look at the guide, which is linked in the document. It defines exactly what is STC, how you run it, how you diagnose failures, how you check. And here there is a guide to develop own scenarios and things like that. As always, advanced topic, reference guide. So if you guys are interested in developing more tests for ODTN, this is how we started doing it. I started doing it, and after I pinged internally Suchitra, which is head of QA at ONF, and Thomas, faculty for ONOS. I asked them, and they said, yeah, you go ahead with STC. It's easy enough to do. It's easy enough to test. And at some point, when it at least includes also the topology and the first connectivity service request, we can include it in the tests that we run nightly or things like that. So that's the first, as I said, STC guide here. Something that I also want to review with everybody on the... Sorry, any questions about that? Okay. If there are no questions, I'll go forward. I want to just review what I'm gonna present at today's ONOS Q release. There was what I wanted to showcase is what we've done in the Quail release. So we have expanded and refactored some of the drivers for the phase 1.0 programming. Sorry about that. We refactored some of the drivers for phase 1.0 in the transponder discovery and programming. We added the Cassini driver. We refactored the Infinera thanks to NTT. And thanks to Ramon and partially Alessio, we've redone the flow root programmable. We added the flow root programmable for the open config for phase 1.5. We have updated the TAPI 2.1.1. We have updated TAPI to 2.1.1 thanks to Hiroki and Amano from NTT. We have updated the open config models thanks to the effort from everybody. We done the 2.6 dynamic configuration subsystem and Yang tools release with a few bug fixes and minor bug fixes here and there in RESTconf, NetConf, etc. Do you guys think I'm missing anything from this slide that we have done in the past 3 months? I'm not counting things that are not yet completed, like the device description discovery for TAPI. That's something that we have done, but it's not included. Am I missing anything?
Nothing from my side. It's perfect.
Okay. Then I'll present this today. Might add like that. So for the next release, which is going to be called 2.1, and we are going to backport this to 2.0. I've already started doing some of this. The deliverables that we plan to have are kind of for phase 1.5 because this release will go up until OFC plus maybe a month. So we plan to do the driver for discovery and the flow root programming for the OLS with TAPI 2.1. Extend the transponder drivers with the flow root programmable to deploy the optical connectivity intent. That's for the Nokia, for Cassini, for Infinera, and all of those. The refactor the NetConf device provider, I already have a patch for that. Test the multi-instance ONOS. That's something that we need to do. And do an STC implementation. The STC implementation is already partially done. At least add a transponder, an OLS, and test that we deploy a connectivity service, and those are programmed in the proper way. So that's the plan. The first milestone is demonstrate the STC testing and the refactor on the NetConf device provider. That's something that is already a good percentage done, so I don't expect anything. The second milestone is actually the OFC demo, so multi-instance support and end-to-end OLS and transponder provisioning. What I wanted to point out, other slides ask for help from community. What I really wanted to point out is that all of this is done with you guys. I mean, by myself, I couldn't do anything of this. And I pointed the Jira board. Any questions on this? Okay. If no questions, let me go back to the agenda. And still kept the TAPI RI update from Karthik. Karthik, if you didn't manage to get any work done, just it's no problem. Karthik?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Yeah. I have no update on that because we are working on now TAPI 2.2, so it's going to be part of that. So, but before we get to the RI, we have to get all the other stuff in.
Okay.
So it's kind of, I'll probably not get time to do on it for weeks, but after that I can do it. But,
okay, thanks for that.
basically, we're moving to 2.2, so we have priorities on 2.2.
Okay. Can you give us a bit of an update on that?
In couple of weeks. So that's why I will do it after that.
Okay. What are the main changes in TAPI 2.2? Sorry, if you can say.
So, okay, let me just list it. At least the plan changes are The first one, what we're calling is resilience updates. So it's updates to the resilience model.
Okay.
The resilience model updates. The second one is OM model updates. So the first one is basically coming out of like now the people are implementing TAPI. They have been finding gaps and stuff like that. So with reference to protection and restoration. So that's the first one. So enhancements that have reference to protection and restoration. The second one, OM model updates, is based on the MEF feedback. So since MEF OM SOM actually, the SOM is based on TAPI, and that's undergoing various CFCs in MEF. We've been getting feedbacks on TAPI because they're again finding some issues or gaps, so we're updating that. And the third one is what we're calling it multi-layer updates. This is to support multi-layer connectivity.
Okay.
And so the multi-layer connectivity is if you want to do Ethernet or ODU or photonic, or some of it can even someone can even consider like ODU or photonic, or like directly like our use case also can be considered multi-layer because the client side is what we call DSR, but the line side is photonic. Right?
Okay.
So there is a need to provision. Like I think we hit the same problem when we did it in ODTN, using one connectivity request versus two connectivity requests.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of issues that we are dealing with. Like we're trying to see how we can do it in a single multi-layer connectivity request, for example. Right. So that's part of this. And the fourth one, of course, is the photonic model updates. And this is actually a lot of, this is the one which is taking up most of discussion again.
Mm-hmm.
And the final one is we are planning to introduce an equipment inventory model. So that's a new feature.
Okay.
Yeah, the first two are more updates, and the first three are like, I would say, more almost can be considered as bug fixes.
Uh-huh.
I think because there are more gaps and feedback. Same thing with photonic model.
Just as a peace of mind, not that the work we're doing is going to be terribly impacted by the release, and we might wait for a few weeks after it's released to move, if we decide to move. Do you have a target date?
So the actual release, official release, will be in March end. But what our process is that we will have an first. We plan to have an at least first. What do you say? What you would call it, like an release
RC?
candidate RC1 in early February.
Okay. Yeah. We.
Right, so I think RC1, RC2, RC3. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
So RC1 in Feb, RC2 in end of Feb, and then RC3 mid March. And end of March is we want to release RC3 as an official release.
Okay. Yeah. Let's. Then let's. I'll make sure everybody reviews the RC when that is up, and we'll put it up on the
right.
on the.
So the first RC is the one we're giving most time for review. A month of review. That's the plan.
Okay. 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 Let me go to the Jira stories that I have here. So as an update, 7882, that's mine. There was a release of the TAPI, Yang Tools 2.6.1. Getting a little bit confused. Yang Tools 2.6.1 was released yesterday to Maven Central, and I have done the update for that in ONOS. I'm just waiting a review from Tom and Ray. I've done that both on ONOS 2.0 and Master. And if this is going to be merged, probably by today, worst case tomorrow. And so the serialization issue that we had for JSON and the connectivity and the TAPI context is going to be resolved. And so that is going to be done. I also started working on the TAPI flow rule programmable with version 2.1 for the OLS, and you can see this change up on Gerrit here, 7826. Just as a peace of mind, if you guys go on Jira and scroll down on the task, if it was done properly by the committer and they have this ONOS-7826 bracket, that's gonna link automatically to this Jira story. So I can go ahead and click here, and it's gonna open up the same review. So you guys can cross-reference from Jira to the review itself. This is what I created. The main class is the terminal device flow rule programmable here. Sorry, not this one. It's this Tapi flow rule programmable, where it basically takes a flow rule in the format that expects it and translates it to a connectivity service request here with the ports, and then it posts it to the device and gives it through REST. Gets back the UID and stores the mapping UID to flow rule in a cache. That in this batch specifically, it's just a map, so it doesn't work multi-instance. But I already have implementation that I have to test for multi-instance cache. And then when it asks for the rules to the device, I get all the connectivity services, I parse them for the UIDs, and return all the flow rules in ONOS that have the corresponding UID on the device. You can also remove the flow rules, and that's the same. Basically, you remove them by UID. So that's the Tapi flow rule programmable, and that goes hand in hand. So that's my work. And I encourage everybody to go and take a look at it on Gerrit. Please do, and please provide any comments. This has yet to be tested fully because I'm working closely with the Telefonica guys, which I do not believe are in the call today, unless I'm mistaken. But I'm working with those Telefonica guys to test this on their testbed, and also on the real hardware as soon as they have the lab set up. I have a call with them tomorrow morning on this specific topic. And that goes hand in hand. I should actually probably do this. With the Lambda query for the OLS. That patch is already existing also. And both of them are needed for what we are looking at. Oh, come on. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm not signed in, so I cannot find the thing. But it's being contributed by Diego and Arturo from Telefonica, and it goes hand in hand with the flow rule programmable, and it helps us deploy the rules as the optical connectivity intent mandates. And that flow rule programmable actually, oh, here it is, actually queries the device each time we request the Lambda configuration. So that enables us also to reconfigure the intent, and is not provisioned statically. You can take a look at how it's done here, basically. There are a few minor comments that I have done, but what they do is they get every time the service interface point data, and that is where the OLS, as per TAPI modeling, stores the Lambda for the port. So those two are up for review. It's just a matter of testing, so that's great. Believe Ramon is not on the call, so I'm just gonna skip this. Yes. This is my long-lasting task to make sure everything goes smoothly for the OFC demo. On the ONOS 2.0 release, I'm working on doing that. So the release is going to happen probably this week, the 2.0 release, and I'm backporting every change to what's going to be, is going to end up being 2.0.1, which at some point we're going to release, and that is going to be the base for our development. I don't see any people from Nokia on the call except Gary, but I believe you, Gary, don't have any information about what Dominique or Juan are doing with the transponder. Or do you? Gary, do you have any information on this? Okay, I guess Gary cannot talk. Okay. And I have an update on 7893 from Alessio. Unfortunately, he couldn't join the call today, but he sent me an update. The code is ready. Is doing a minor minor adjustments due to check styles and things like that, removing some logs. Unfortunately, he's going to be off work next week, so the code is going to be up at the end of January. If it's needed, he's probably going to upload a draft which I can have access to, and if needed, I can take it and modify it and share it again. But that code enables us to work on the Metro Hall based agent-based transponders. I want also thanks to Hiroki for helping us set up a server in ONF to have us the STC tests. That's something that's not tracked here, but I wanted to thank Hiroki for. Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts? Okay. Okay. So after this, as per our discussion last time, I added a slide to this presentation, this rolling presentation that we have, two slides actually. One about the transceiver flow rule programmable that describes exactly what is needed for phase 1.5. And it includes extend the driver for the flow rule programmable, with the flow rule programmable, what is needed in terms of also open config tags, and that includes both the ONOS side and open config, and example of Lambda query. So this is exactly like a snapshot of what is needed. If anybody from the transponders needs to do it, just take a look here on how it's done. Instead, what I want to discuss a little bit more is the power configuration. So what I've done is that, as per our discussion last time, an iterative workflow is what we needed. And I went through it, and so at least in my understanding, this is how it's gonna end up happening. So the first point is that ONOS is gonna create the connectivity service through the flow rule programmable, and send this connectivity service to the OLS. Then ONOS is gonna after the provisioning, query the open line system to the power configuration class and get back the expected power on both ports of the end-to-end connection on the OLS itself. To do this, we need to augment the optical connectivity intent, including a power configuration get power config during the compilation phase of the rules for the transponders. Then we augment the flow rule that is sent to the transponders to include the power configuration. And then we leverage the power configuration behavior for the transponders and call it in the flow rule programmable and put a power on a given port. So that's the idea of, I think, how it's going to happen in the set of steps. So there are still a little bit open questions. Last time, also Gary pointed out that this is a loop. How it's gonna happen if there's recomputation? So if there is recomputation, we need to monitor that recomputation inside the OLS and recompute the intent, and that's gonna regenerate the rules, delete the old ones, put the new ones in, and so at least through the intent subsystem at a fairly high level, I'm confident that we can do this. Probably through the constraints, I still need to look a little bit into this, but at least as a first provisioning step, the first 4 that I highlighted should be good enough. I found the OpenConfig power node, so I think I'm good on that side. And if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, just give it a second. Eventually. Okay. I expect this target output power in the optical channel configuration to be what we are gonna use for configuring the power on the transponder. Is that correct? At least from your guys' point of view? Okay, I guess that's a yes. Is anybody has any idea if this is correct or I should look further? Okay, I guess it is. Then what I want like everybody to ask about is, especially the people from TAPI, if there is anybody left. I guess not. So well, whatever. Is what parameter do we use in TAPI to configure and retrieve the power node? I found this issue that was opened by Arturo, and that I think is getting targeted for 2.1 or 2.2. I believe it's not going to be in 2.1. I wanted to check with Karthik, but he left the call, so I might send him an email about this. And my take is that it's not yet implemented in TAPI on the network media channel. So I think that we are gonna have to look into this a bit more with the people from TAPI to understand exactly how we're gonna end up retrieving this. Does anybody have any idea on this point? Okay. Okay. Then yeah, I'll have to send an email to the TAPI people and ask them about this topic. That ended my topics for the day. I know it's pretty early, but if you guys have anything, we can discuss it. You guys have any points, any comments? Did I kill everybody? Probably. Can you guys still hear me? Or did I talk like 20 minutes for nothing? Great. I talked 20 minutes for nothing.
Nothing for today, and actually, I was tied up in the past 2 weeks, but I started works related to cutscene implementation and for the program integration, the works in the collaboration with IP Fusion.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Thanks about that, Hiroki. Then I moved your task in progress, so that's great.
Okay, thanks.
I have a meeting with IPI on next Monday. I might add you to it, so we can share this and sync up on that. Okay.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Hiroki. Does anybody have any other comments or thoughts or points? Okay. If not, I think we can break early for today. I'll send out an email for the TAPI people highlighting that the request that I have, and I'll try to get some feedback from Nokia and from Ramon on the TAPI to optical connectivity intent mapping. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a great evening or day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.